National Institute of Health right here. This was published, I believe it was published like 2017 or 18, but you look at the suicide rates. And if Ashley, you can bring that up there on the screen in front of them, I want them to see this graph right here. So you can see 2007, we had a decline in suicide rates in our children up until 2007. And then it started going up. They said there was a change in trajectory. There was a change in the direction the suicide rates were headed. They were headed down. We were having less of our children commit suicide. And then all of a sudden, something changed. Something changed. For a directional change, something had to change. What? God, what happened? So I prayed. I said, God, what happened? Is there any connection we can make to maybe something we did affecting our young children? And here's another specific point you need to take into consideration that draws into the idea that, hey, there's an association here, at least, an association. So all I could say is, hey, I'm begging and pleading. I know this is a different temperament from Dr. Dale here today, the wild doc, I'm begging and pleading. Let's look at this. Because watch, all right? So what year? And post in the comments, folks, both YouTube and Facebook, YouTube in the future, Facebook right now. What year? What year? And then Instagram up too?
Yeah.
Insty, do the same. So is that like cool slang for like Instagram, like Insty? I don't know. But what year was the HPV vaccine approved for girls? Comment. So take that to note. And it's pretty simple because it was just before the change in direction of childhood suicide. And what age was it approved for? 12-year-old girls. The 10 to 14-year age, which this article from our National Institute of Health, the pace increase of suicide was greater for 2013 to 17, which I'll note in a second. Homicide rate declined. But it nearly tripled from 2007 to 2017, and they saw increase of suicide rate, persons 10 to 24 increased, and 10 to 14 being the most substantial increase was in the ages of 10 to 14. And what age group did we vaccinate? 12-year-old, that age group between 10 to 14 years of age. And then we immediately see a change because 2006 was when the HPV vaccine was approved for young girls. It was 2006. It was approved mid-year, I think it was like June. And then so you could imagine that the rates of vaccinations with that vaccine and the marketing really just skyrocketed late 2016 into 2007. So you would say after it was approved, if it had an effect, well, there's an association. As vaccination rates go up for HPV, so does suicide rates. And it was specifically, they saw some of the highest rates of increase in girls. If you look at this, girls was relatively flat, and then it radically increased. Now, they say there was a substantial jump then in 2013. In 2013, it took a hit as well. Now, if you go on and just Google it, when was the HPV vaccine approved for boys? Oh, it was approved in 2012. So you see a change in the direction of suicide. It was going down, and then in 2007, the year after they approved the HPV vaccine for girls, there was an increase in suicide, and specifically, they saw some of the highest rates of increase in suicide. NPR, Nashville Public Radio. Oh, NPR, and I laughed. I laughed, but I shouldn't laugh because this is not funny, what is taking place. But the irony of suicide rates for girls has been rising faster than for boys. Put it back on me, Ashley. Suicide rates, and you notice what's at the top bar there. It'd be like on the left-hand side of your screen. That's okay. That's okay. Shots. So the suicide rate for girls has been rising faster than for boys. Literally, if you look at this, in my opinion, it's like God saying, I'm going to give you the answer to why the suicide rates in girls started increasing in 2007, which is the year after the HPV shot was approved for those little girls. And then for when the vaccine was approved, the year after the vaccine was approved for boys, we saw a further increase in the rate of suicide in those young children. That is way too much coincidence for comfort.